Good afternoon and welcome to all of you joining us from all over the world. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for the time to connect to this webinar organized by Dental Monitoring. My name is Sean Pemberton, an account executive with Dental Monitoring based in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. Joining me from his home in Paris is Dr. Ryan Scaffey, Clinical Education Officer for DM. We want to make sure you enjoy this webinar and most importantly, find value as you begin or continue your journey with DM. As you may know, today's webinar is the first of a 4-part series we will be delivering over the next 2 weeks, and more details of the series in just a few moments. We encourage active participation and interaction in this forum. However, in the interest of time and to minimize background disruptions, all lines have been muted by default. There are, however, a few options to allow interactivity. So let's go over the basics of the Zoom interface. On the bottom of your screen, you have 3 boxes. The first is the chat box, which allows you to send messages to the speaker and to the panelist in private or shared with everyone else. The second one is the Q&A box, which allows you to type in all of your questions, which will be addressed throughout the session, either by the panelist or by our speaker. And lastly, you have the raise your hand box. So don't hesitate to use it if you have any urgent question or issue, as our team will be responding immediately to those issues. At the end of the session, if you'd like to have a conversation with our speaker rather than just type in your questions, please let us know by sending us a message below. Once again, welcome, and let's begin. At this time, I'm pleased to give the floor to Philippe Salah, CEO of Dental Monitoring. Philippe, thank you so much for your innovation and leadership throughout such a challenging time and for joining us from your home in Paris as well. Please, when you're ready.
Thank you, Sean, for this introduction. It's really a great pleasure to have this very nice crowd joining Dental Monitoring webinar tonight, especially because of Barry, which is a very loyal and active participant in the story of dental monitoring. Tonight we will be close to 300 doctors, so we are sorry that we can't give you the voice to all of you, but please ask questions through the chat, and because we have a team behind, we will try to answer to most of your questions. And please don't hesitate to contact our team to answer all questions if you come after other questions. And to already answer to one of your questions, yes, the webinar is recorded and will be available online later. So I will give the mic to Barry. Thank you, Barry, for again giving you your very precious time. I know that the time is very difficult for every one of you. And so thank you, Barry, to help everyone to get just past this very bad period. Thank you, Barry.
Well, thanks so much, Philippe. It's an honor to be here. So it's difficult for all of us, I suppose, all over the world. But at this point, I think we're all trying to look for any silver linings that we can. I mean, one of the silver linings is this is my 3rd Zoom meeting today. So at least we can maybe take the opportunity to educate and to learn. And hopefully over the next hour or so, our listeners will be able to learn something about some of the things that I've done in my office to try to respond to this pandemic. So again, Philippe, it's just such a pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I think it's time to get started. Well, let's just make sure my computer works here. So we've got some learning objectives. I'll probably go for about a half hour, and then Philippe will come on and talk to you about some of the latest technologies that DM has furiously rolled out in response to the pandemic. I think it's pretty remarkable. But let's get started. So some hard lessons from the COVID-19 crisis. And I think at this point, we're really at an inflection point. And I think many of us were, initially in denial. And I think there's still parts, at least in the US, where people are in denial that the coronavirus was even capable of escalating to a worldwide pandemic. When communities began mandating closures and lockdowns, there was a period of shock, and it was followed by the realization that we as individual practitioners were either woefully underprepared or that the digital and virtual platforms we already had in place were going to prove to be our lifelines. Either way, this is the point our industry is changing, and not that I'm a pundit, but I think the change is going to be, there are going to be some permanent changes here. If we fail at change, we'll never recover, but we have the opportunity to embrace the virtual solutions and not only survive, but I submit to you maybe also to survive. So what are some of the lessons that I've learned in a very, very short period of time? So number one, and I think all watching can relate to this, the world and your practice can change in an instant. I mean, everything is just chugging along, and then all of a sudden things can change. And that the cash flow spigot can be rapidly turned off. Steady stream of new patient exams that you kind of take for granted, I suppose, can be cut off instantaneously. Suddenly you can't pay your staff or your office expenses, and maybe the lesson is that the traditional model of in-office patient care, it seems tried and true until it isn't. And I want to make the comment too that this is not just in a pandemic. I mean, there are other things that happen. You could have a fire in your office or a hurricane or some other thing. So it doesn't have to be a global crisis to have your office all of a sudden be cut off. And I think that for those that have adopted DM that are listening, I think you can relate to how it helps to respond to this crisis. But for those who haven't yet, it's something to consider, not just for now. I know a lot of doctors, are clamoring to get this technology into their office, but it's not just for now. It's not just for the pandemic, because there's going to be something else down the road too. So a change in our traditional business model is going to be required. And it's a dark cloud, but I'm a silver lining guy, and I think there are some silver linings here. So let's talk about some of the disruptive technologies and some of the rewards and some of the lessons that I've learned. So 2 years ago, I'll tell you a quick story. I was at the AAO meeting, and I saw Terry Sulky to give a lecture on this, crazy new technology called dental monitoring. And I have this rule that I never make an impulse purchase when I'm at the AAO meeting. And I went from the lecture hall upstairs down to the exhibit floor, and I met some nice people. I don't know, Philippe, I'm trying to think if you were there, but I met Dimitri Tops and some other nice folks. And I signed up right there. I signed up for the service because it just seemed amazing to me. This amazing technology that to me had lots of applications, and one of them is not to try to kick patients out of my office. I'm still looking to do excellent orthodontic treatment, but I saw this technology, especially for practice like mine. I'm 80% share of chair with Invisalign, and I just immediately saw how dental monitoring could really dovetail beautifully with my aligner treatment. And not only that, I could also recognize that this technology really seemed to sync with the wants and needs of the millennials and the Gen Z, the Uber generation. And if we could try to provide our orthodontic services in a way that speaks to them, I thought that would be a good thing for my practice and my patients. For sure, I recognized that DM would sync with the emerging digital workflow efficiencies of my practice, and that's emerged over the last decade, where I've really learned to understand how I can continue to deliver what I think is excellent orthodontics, but in a way that's more efficient, not only for my patients, but for my practice as well. But I saw dental monitoring as sort of an extension of that. There was another thing. I have a degree in psychology, and I saw the potential to use remote treatment monitoring to hold my patients more accountable for their clear aligner treatment. I wish I had more time to talk about that, but maybe that'll be for another webinar. I also theorized that this accountability, by holding patients accountable, I theorized that it would reduce treatment time and maybe reduce the number of additional aligner orders, and it has. And it's really no different than Weight Watchers. There's a real reason that Weight Watchers has a Weight Watchers studio where their clients come in to get counseling and to step on the scale and get weighed, because they find that their clients are more successful in their weight loss by being monitored. And that's exactly what dental monitoring has done for the efficiency of my practice as well. And look, and I'm looking to reduce my in-office appointments. I am not looking to throw my patients out the door, but in this day and age, our Generation Z patients and millennial moms are busy. You know, both husband and wife are, both spouses are working in full-time jobs. Kids are hyper busy. We all know that soccer and gymnastics are more important than their teeth. I say that only semi-sarcastically. But we find that parents love this because it just fits in with their schedules. Everyone's so busy, not right now, but the month ago they were. And so it's been a win across the board. But I never dreamed that this technology, this AI of dental monitoring would save my butt in a pandemic. And I really think that at this point, it really has. So let's talk about some of the amazing technology that, for those of you who may not be on board with DM, what it can do. So this, for better or worse, these are my teeth. I'm an Invisalign patient. I'm not just a doctor, I'm also a client. But patients have this amazing technology where they can actually look at the progression of their treatment. Let's see if I get that to play on their smartphones. It happens to be one of the patient's most favorite features, where they can see their progress. And if you've had patients come into your office that say, you know, doc, I don't think this Invisalign is working, this kind of makes that go away because they can really see how they're doing. So this instant feedback for patients not only is a great marketing tool, it's also motivating and helps keeps patients on track and keeps their aligners in their mouths, hopefully, and not on the lunch tray. Automated messaging. Another thing that, again, is even more important today than it was and ever before. So again, this is what my smartphone looks like, but the patients get messaging. A lot of this is done automatically through the AI. They get messaging that lets them know how they're doing, whether they can move on to their next aligner, or whether they should stay in their current aligner for a few extra days. In addition, if you look at the bottom of the screen here, if you could see my cursor, there's a little envelope icon, and there's a little chat feature, which has become incredibly important these days because now patients have a direct pipeline to us through their smartphone. And with questions, concerns, there's so much anxiety now, they can use this and they can get their questions answered by me and my team. Instant communication. So again, this is this is my phone. So there's my dental monitoring app. And you may get something like this. You know, hi, Dr. Glaser. I lost my last aligner. Now it's funny because, you know, people are kind of shut in now. I just got one of these yesterday. You know, I lost my aligner. What am I supposed to do? And I'm like, where did it go? I mean, where could it possibly be? But at any rate, the point is that patients can communicate with us. It helps to reduce anxiety, and it helps us to guide them in their treatment, even though I can't physically see them right now in the office where I am in suburban New York. And then we also have a web-based dashboard. And this dashboard allows us to see in real time all of our patients, where they are, and not only where they are in treatment, but it actually allows us to see their teeth and their aligners and the fit of their aligners and assess their treatment on a weekly basis. So what are the rewards of this technology? The fact that patients are amazed and the parents are wowed is a good thing. And again, I'm looking to have the efficient digital practice. So the truth is I want as many patients in aligner treatment as I can. I'd like to get that 80% up to 95%. And as you know, there are some parents that will say, you know what, the Invisalign, they call it the Invisalign. We're not going to have the Invisalign, you know, my child's not going to wear it. We can come back to them and say, you know what, Mrs. Jones, we have this amazing technology that will allow us to remotely monitor your child's treatment using their smartphone. We'll be with you every step of the way. And parents are amazed by that, and it does give them peace of mind that the treatment's going to proceed normally and that there's someone going to be supervising their treatment. So it has definitely increased my Invisalign share of chair. So it helps moms to say yes to Invisalign teen treatment. It's significantly reduced the need for in-office appointments. There are doctors, I'm evolving my practice to the point where we will also be on appointment on demand, where we're only seeing patients when we need to. That means for an attachment or for IPR or if there's a tracking issue. Sean, do we have any questions at this point that we want to address, or are we good? I guess we're okay.
No questions posted at this. Well, there was just popped up.
I think there is a question in the Q&A section.
Yes, from Todd Gilliland. I have multiple offices and multiple doctors. Would I just have a contact point at each office to field questions or forward and assign to a specific doctor?
Could you read that one more time? Because it's all right. Well, let me take that in a global way. So what happens is that you will actually partner with your staff on this, and you're going to designate one or several DMCs, dental monitoring coordinators. And let me just go back here for a couple of slides. And this is a web-based dashboard, so this can be pulled up anywhere. Right now, Marisol, who's my dental monitoring coordinator, and is in another county, and we're able to communicate and monitor our patients remotely. So you'll designate staff members to check on your patient's progress on a daily basis. So it's not so much that it's assigned to doctors as it is assigned to staff. I'm not sure if I'm getting that question right. Am I, Sean?
I can complement the answer. Inside the platform, you have the ability to create multiple. You have the ability to create multiple practices. When you have multiple practices, each practices can have multiple doctors or one, and so every patient is assigned to one practice. So it means that then you can basically create the combination that fits to your workflow.
That's what he was asking. Thank you, Philippe. I appreciate you for bailing me out on that one.
No, you just don't use this particular option, which is multiple practice.
I'm just the country orthodontist. It's just me. I just have one location. So, actually, I
don't have any practice, you know.
I'm not a bricklayer. I'm just an orthodontist. But actually, behind me is Bear Mountain State Park in Anthony's Nose. It's about 10 minutes from my house. But there, thank you for that. But it has definitely significantly reduced the need for in-office appointments, and that's a good thing because I'm still able to see my patients on a weekly basis. I just see them virtually. So we run a virtual clinic. What does that say as far as overhead and efficiency in your practice? It's really helped my practice significantly, but I'm still in control. I'm still in control of my Invisalign patients. I have to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I have not yet. This is a mistake. I have not yet integrated my fixed appliance patients into dental monitoring, and now obviously I'm regretting that because I have 20% of my patients that are kind of out there right now that don't have the same monitoring. So one of my goals, as soon as I can, and Philippe will talk to you about some of the ways to, let's say, get your patients on board, will be to have all my patients on this, but that was a mistake. But certainly I am still control of 80% of those Invisalign patients, even though my office is shut down. We can easily communicate to them using the DM app. And my dental monitoring coordinator can work from home. So what are some of the lessons learned? So the first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiencies. So certainly this has exposed, like for example, the fact that I don't have my fixed appliance patients on dental monitoring has exposed some of our weaknesses. And maybe one of the other silver lining of being able to have all this free time is to work on your practice and try to make it better for when all of this blows over. Tim Ferriss, one of my favorites, who wrote The 4-Hour Workweek. I would recommend that everybody read that. And Tim Ferriss says that you need to know what your unique strengths are and be willing to delegate. Another way of saying that, Dirty Harry said, man's got to know his limitations. So, delegation. It's important that you delegate this process as much as you can to your staff. And one of the things that you'll do is you'll have protocols. So this is a great time to take the time to create your unique protocols, and don't be afraid to alter them when needed. Define your priorities and eliminate when needed. Personalize the messages you send to your patients, and I'll show you some examples of that in a few minutes. And it's also a great time, if you haven't done this already, to create decision trees. So I'm going to give you some examples of decision trees, and if you want to learn more about them, if you go to Dental Monitoring's website and go to the Academy, these videos are now, training videos are now archived, not just for myself, but other dental monitoring faculty as well. but I have webinars on there on the specific process of how to create these decision trees. But basically, the idea is that you want to automate this process so that your dental monitoring coordinators know what to interact with you about and what they can handle on their own. So for example, if a patient has a slight unseat, that patient's going to get an automated message sent from DM. In my office, we give patients a go with slight unseats. We don't give them a no-go. We allow them to move ahead to the next aligner, and then this is just marked as reviewed. So this happens automatically. I don't even have to know about this. What about a noticeable unseat that's still present? So again, dental monitoring refers to non-tracking teeth as unseats. So this would be an example, and we'll just go over this, take a minute to go over this quickly, but if the patient has a noticeable unseat present, it's either going to be the same tooth as a previous unseat or it's going to be a different tooth. Either way, my dental monitoring coordinator is going to sit down with me. We take about 10 to 15 minutes a day to review the patients that have come in that day on the dashboard. She's going to sit down with me and she's going to alert me, and we're going to make a decision. We're going to decide to ignore that tooth. Maybe the patient's almost through a series and we know we're going to need to do additional aligners anyway, so we may decide to ignore that tooth. Or if, let's say, the patient's maybe coming to the end of treatment and it's a lateral not tracking, we may decide to call that patient and have them in, let's say, for example, for a bootstrap elastic or an auxiliary. So these decision trees help to, again, to communicate with your dental monitoring coordinator and have her or him know when to talk to you and when they can handle things on their own. Missing attachment. Marisol comes to me, Doc, what do you want to do about the attachment? And then we decide whether we're going to ignore, if it's a non-critical tooth, maybe it's a second molar, or if it's a critical tooth, let's say with an optimized attachment on, we may want to order a template that she'll do, Marisol will do automatically. She won't even tell me about it. And then we'll schedule an appointment for that patient. So these are things that should be really honed during this time of shutdown. Another one is poor oral hygiene, and I think you get the idea. And each one of these is completely customizable by you. Some doctors want to know more information than others, but again, if we have one instance of poor oral hygiene, which again the AI, it's amazing. The AI can see. Sometimes I look at a case and I'm like, you really have to look for it, but the AI is very sensitive, and it'll see plaque, and it'll see inflammation, and it'll automatically notify the patient about hygiene. Parents get notified as well if it's a teen patient. And then if it continues, we can decide whether we maybe want to have that patient in to work on their brushing skills, maybe have them see the dentist, and so on and so forth. I'm running short on time here, so I won't dwell on that. But again, if you want more information on decision trees, go to dentalmonitoring.com and go to the Academy. So common questions. I'm trying to be pretty active on social media right now. Obviously, that's lit up with all these questions and concerns. So I wanted to maybe go over a couple of typical questions that I've been hearing out on social media. So the first one, how has dental monitoring benefited the practice during the crisis so far? So I've got two cohorts of patients. I've got 80% of my patients on DM, and I've got 20% that are not. So the 20% of patients that are not are really, I'm kind of working blind. They're in limbo. We have to invent a system to try to communicate with them on a wholesale basis. We have to try to figure out a way to determine their treatment progress. I mean, and to get a text message from hundreds of patients and try to figure that out and figure out who the patients are. I mean, it's very, very cumbersome. The DM patients, it's same as it ever was. It's a Talking Heads reference there for those of you who don't get it. Same as it ever was. These patients are already accustomed to having their treatment remotely monitored, where they're just humming right along, and it's a dramatic difference. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel for our DM patients. So here's an example. This is what you might see on your dashboard. This is a patient who is doing great. What you see up here, I call this a timeline. Green circles mean that the patient gets a go. They can go on to the next aligner. Occasionally, they need a few extra days in a current aligner, and that's what the red boxes refer to. But here's this patient, started October 23rd, 2018. Here they are, March 31st, 2020. And as you can see, the aligners are fitting great. I can see very closely what's going on here. If there's an area that I want the patient to concentrate on, I can actually send them this image with a little note, and they can see exactly what to do. But this patient is just humming along beautifully, even though my office is shut down. Direct messaging. This happens to be a patient who lives in my neighborhood. Hello, Dr. Glaser. I was looking around for some chewies to use, but it turns out that I ran out of them. What should I do? And I just sent him a message right back on DM. Hi, I'll drop you some in your mailbox today. Thank you so much. Problem solved. I mean, and this happens now multiple times a day for patients that have questions and concerns. So we've already got the system set up. Philippe has set it up for me. Thank you, Philippe. So these patients, we have a system for monitoring and communication, and it's seamless. Another question, what if the mandated closures are extended several additional weeks or months? And my own personal opinion is that that's probably going to happen. I think June is probably even optimistic. So what happens if these closures continue? So we've done something to take action, because one of the things that I am concerned about is that I'm concerned about patients running out of aligners. So this is a message that we've sent out to some patients as they're getting close to the end of a series of aligners. Hello, Nicholas. Our office is closed due to COVID-19. At this time, we're closed until the end of March. Obviously, now that's, we have to send out a new message. We're changing your protocol to take your scan every 14 days. Please do not switch aligners until the app tells you to. If you are in need of additional aligners or have any questions, you can message us through dental monitoring or by emailing us at info@glaserortho.com. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing your smiling faces very soon. So for certain patients, as they're approaching the end of a series of aligners, I'm slowing down their cadence just to kick the can down the road a little bit so that they don't wind up running out of aligners. And we can customize that for individual patients. If I've got a patient that's on aligner 6 of 50, I'm not all that concerned at this point. There's something else, now how somebody throws away their retainer when they're quarantined is fascinating. But this is a text message. My son accidentally threw his retainer away. Is there anything to do amid this COVID situation? Now this happens to be an Invisalign patient. Hi, not a problem. I can order him a new set. Should be here in a week. Replacement sets are $298. Thank you. And then what'll happen when these retainers come in, I'll send her a text message and she can pick up the retainers curbside, and that problem is solved. One more coming down the home stretch here. Good evening. Just wanted to make sure I don't need to do any more scans since I'm out of aligners. And this is my response down here. Hi, you may stop scanning. Please wear your last set of aligners night only as temporary retainers. They can last for several months. And that's important to tell patients because they think that that aligner expires after 7 days. So you could let them know that if they wear them at night, it's going to hold their teeth in position, and that we note that in the patient's chart. And when we can open back up, this patient will come in and then we'll finish them up. So at least they had their question answers, they've had their fears allayed, and they know what to do. All right from from sitting in my pajamas. which is a good thing. So another question: how might today look different if I did not have DM already integrated? So if I didn't have DM integrated, I'd be taking a lot of this stuff right now. That's me actually. After the Xanax, because it would be even. I mean, look, I know a lot of us are having trouble sleeping and. Having said that, I mean, there's so much anxiety and so much stress going on. We don't need to make it worse. So had I not had DM, we would be scrambling. And this is now my staff all at home, me at home, we'd be scrambling to figure out some kind of rational communication system with our patients. We would have to be rushing to onboard and integrate some kind of basic non-AI based photo monitoring system that is not, close to what we can do with DM. We'd have to figure out on the fly how to best utilize my staff while working remotely. And we'd have to calm an anxious patient base who do not comprehend how remote treatment monitoring works. So again, one of the benefits of having patients on this is ready is they're trained and used to it, and it's just business as same as it ever was, business as usual. So how this COVID crisis has impacted my DM systems. So patient training. So one of the things that we do is we spend a lot of time in the office training our patients. Turns out that the DM when they use their phone, there's a series of tutorials right on their phone. Patients do perfectly fine just learning this remotely. So we're going to probably allow more of the education for DM to happen at home. We slow down scan intervals for a lot of patients to 14 days, again, just to slow down treatment, just to make sure that we're not running out of aligners. Communicating every day with my DM coordinator via text and email. Team communication with patients using the DM direct messaging feature. We've customized our protocols to hold patients at the end of an aligner series, as you saw, to have them wear their last aligner at night. I've also considered changes to my ClinChecks. You know, now we've kind of gotten through that. I don't really have any more ClinChecks to do at this point, but any patients that had additional aligner orders, we were considering having no attachments or no IPR so that patients could pick up their next series of aligners curbside and at least have some aligners to wear. And obviously compliance management as we normally do. So just to wrap up, and this is, I'm going to have a few more slides and then I'll turn this back over to Philippe. But what about patients who are not monitored on DM or doctors who are not yet users? And I know Philippe is going to talk a little bit more in detail about some of the light versions that you can use, or maybe not even have to go with the light versions, but their DM has, the man that you see on your screen, Philippe, basically has not slept for the last 8 weeks, because obviously this crisis is, you know, hit Europe even before it's hit the US. But he and his company have worked furiously to come out with solutions to help our profession. And again, Philippe, I tip my hat to you. We really appreciate the hard work that you and your team have done. It's just, I mean, what you've mobilized in a short period of time is really, it's like a moonshot. It's really remarkable. Fast track online onboarding for doctors, which again, he's going to touch on. So lessons for the future. So what am I going to do when I do get back to work? I'm going to put all my patients on DM, because, you know, who knows what's going to happen next. Like I said, it could be a flood in my office. But all my fixed cases, all my patients are going to be on dental monitoring. Another thing, what happens if I had a fire in my office and I store all those aligners in my office? That's a major issue. So from going forward, when patients come in to start the treatment, we're going to give them all their boxes and let them take them home. I'd rather have one patient lose some aligners than all my patients lose their aligners. We're going to set up appointment on demand from the beginning. So that means only seeing patients for critical appointments when needed. I'm going to work to get 95% of my cases into Invisalign, because I just think that, you know, right now dealing with a broken bracket or a poking wire, you know, I don't want, honestly, I don't want to have to come into the office. I don't want to be exposed to the virus. I don't want, you know, I don't want to deal with that. And the patients on Invisalign, it's very unusual that they have to come in for some kind of emergency. So I want to really try to get my share of chair up as high as I can with Invisalign. And then we'll run virtual clinics, and then someday, you know, maybe I'll be able to do more bike riding and you know, less time in the office, but that's for another day. And I also like the idea of curbside delivery options. I mean, think about it. I think there's going to be a long, again, if you're asking my opinion, I think there's going to be a long period of time where it's not really going to be back to normal. The virus, there'll still be a lot of people that are not immune. It'll be pre-vaccine, where maybe our offices will be open, but we still want to minimize the number of people coming into the practice. So we are going to really, just like Applebee's, we're going to offer all kinds of curbside delivery options for things like retainers, additional aligners, where we don't have to have a patient in the office. We don't have to clean the chair. And I think that's something that patients will love anyway. And then maybe we'll have more options for staff to work at home. You know, staff go on maternity, staff, you know, leave for many different reasons. And maybe there's going to be opportunities to keep those, you know, key employees in our practice working just at home. So I'm going to say thank you now, and be safe to everybody. Thanks for listening. Please don't log out. Philippe is going to come on here in a minute, but I did want to give you a couple of resources if you want to try to keep in touch with me. I've been trying to do as much as I can to help the profession. So there's a few places that you can find me. One is on my Facebook group, which is called the Aligner Insider Clinical Chat. That's a closed group. You can also find me on alignerinsider.com, which I have now made free, so that doctors can access the educational library at alignerinsider.com at no charge. We also have a podcast, which, you know, we're furiously pumping out podcasts because things change on a daily basis. So make sure you follow us on the Aligner Insider podcast as well. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Glaser Ortho. Thank you for listening. And now I will turn this over to CEO of Dental Monitoring, Philippe Salah. Philippe, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Barry. It was very, very, very clear, I think, to the audience. I will share my screen too. Let me just. So I will try to do two things. Summarize what are the key elements. You probably see my screen now. And I will start. Yes. So I will try to summarize what are really the key elements that we believe we can help doctors across the globe to pass this very bad period. And we have been investigating with all the doctors that now we are helping what are really the critical points. And in a certain way, you are all over the globe in the same problems. Practices are closing, patients are reluctant to book new appointments, and I think we need to discuss about new appointments, new patient into your clinic. How can we really try to build still something? Appointments are canceled massively. Current patients are less unattended, which is obviously a problem. Patient compliance decrease when you don't have any more contact with the patient. I liked your Weight Watcher analogy, Barry. It's when you don't see people, they are just not compliant. Patients in need of immediate care are just not answered. So we believe that there is solution and there is a process that we can minimize. We cannot solve all problems. We cannot make your patient come to your clinic is closed, but can we compensate? Can we minimize the impact of the COVID-19? So I will try to present three main topics where I really want you. We have, yes, okay. We have really worked very hard to transform the complete solution that we propose, the remote monitoring solution that we propose since 5 years, and adapt it to this situation. The first thing is virtual consultation for new patient, because crisis, it's just a period. So you should not wait on patient. You should already have patient for when your practice opens. So you should invest at that particular time. You should invest at that particular time that when your practice restarts, you will be in a good position. You will not be starting from zero. This will be dramatic. And you don't want to be in that situation. So let's think about already the after crisis and react now to be ready for after crisis. Second, today you've got hundreds of appointments booked on your schedule and you are just canceling it. And we believe that, no, you have another solution. Keep them all, as much as you can, of course. Keep all your appointments. Of course, not physical appointment, but keep them just virtual appointment, transform them to something virtual. Of course, we will speak about the process to do it, but you can transform your clinic, and you have to transform your clinic from a physical clinic at that particular moment to a virtual clinic. Then many aspects of the treatment will still be going on. You will be able, if you do a liner treatment, to check upon a liner fits and etc., and to slow down the treatment as Barry is doing, or to give advice for braces. You can give strong advice or recommendation, or at least do triage on what is truly an emergency. And I understand when Barry say, I don't want to see patients during the virus period, because you are super exposed and you are one of the professions the most exposed on the planet. So obviously I understand, Barry, when you say this. And the last aspect that we believe that is key factor is strong and recurrent communication with your ongoing patient. Strong, I mean, it needs to be impactful, it needs to be very good guidance, not random marketing. It needs to be guided to the patient himself. And also recurrent, it's not one time. You need to be there all along the crisis, because your patients are also in a crisis. They might be losing the job, they might be in bad situation. So if you could be a little bit of breath in their existence at that moment, I think that your practice will be valued a lot more if you act like this. So I will shortly present the suite of software we have, and I will jump then on the demonstration going online, and because I think it's there is no better way than just seeing in direct. So for the one who know us, you probably already know our 3 products. So we've got SmileMate virtual consultation. So it's a complete tool to do online first consult, completely designed to receive this patient that you never seen before, to do an assessment with using artificial intelligence, to be able to communicate, and to be able then to drive him to come to your clinic to start an appointment. And of course, we have transformed it to be able to keep him so hot, as we say, as a lead, that at least this appointment is kept for after the crisis. Then we've got Vision. Vision is really a treatment simulation tools. So we don't think that you will be using this massively during the crisis, but it's really, when you are working in clinic, an engagement tool for the patient to start. When they see their teeth corrected instantly with AI, with a very photorealistic aspect inside the mouth, not just an outside picture with not precise picture, something very, very personalized with their own teeth instantly. And when you can also show them the modalities of treatment, braces, aligners, and so on, this is really engaging the patient into it. And of course, the remote treatment management, all dental monitoring. Dental monitoring really how to manage your treatment remotely, how to be able to engage patient, because I think the most important word in monitoring is engage your patient in a process where he feel that you are always watching his back. But of course, this, in times of crisis, we needed to adapt. We needed to change quickly. So there's a close to 300 people of DM have worked days and nights since 2 months to release products which will make you be able to, if you are not a DM user, to be able to start quickly with a very, very fast onboarding, very simplified protocols, and a dedicated team, and I'll go in detail about this. And also to correspond to the exact stress that brings this crisis. So we have created SmileMate virtual consultation web-based version for being able to have the patient install nothing, just receiving emails and communicating through you, and I will show you how it works. And photo monitoring Lite, which is a fast onboarding monitoring system where basically the patient will receive a login to download the app and have a constant monitoring as often as you decide. And this monitoring will allow you to have a direct line of communication, as Barry showed you, but with no setup, with nothing, with not mandatory scan box, etc. Very, very light and cheap. And because, let's be direct, we did not want to be accused of taking advantage of the crisis. So we have decided to, for SmileMate, make it completely free for the next 2 months. That at least for the period, for the heavy period of the crisis, that you don't have an additional cost. There is just, as many other companies use video conferencing systems such as Zoom, such as other products like Doxy or stuff like this, we embedded directly inside the solution a video conferencing system to help you to even better communicate. This part you will have to pay because it's not depending on us. But all our part, SmileMate, is completely free for the next 2 months. The second thing is photo monitoring Lite. We have reduced it that it costs only €3 per patient, far less than normally. We have reduced to the minimal cost to us to allow you at least to pass this period. Why we are doing this? Because basically you created us You created the capacity of DM to exist. So it's our time to give back. We hope, obviously, we bet on future, we bet that you will stay on the platform and then we will become partners. But for the moment, we want to take out any economical reason and have you on board with us and to start quickly. Let's speak about what are the definition of our product now during the time of crisis compared to what was the definition of our product before. Before, SmileMate, it was to increase patient flow, using marketing, digital marketing, pushing patients to your clinic, doing this very modern and cool system to have AI screening your patient, bring them to a personalized assessment, and then for you to engage them to bring them directly to the patient on a very fast track. Now, it's to transform every call, so the process is very simple. Every call you receive to a clinic, which is not an existing patient, should go into this system. You bring them, you send them this link that I will show you how it works. You send them this link or you ask them to click on your website for a virtual consultation, and then you engage them into something. They take quick pictures, you engage them to a video conferencing system. You can send them very customized report with all what the AI have generated and have now a connection. And then you book an appointment for after the crisis. But you have connected the patient at that stage. Vision, as I told you, because you don't see the patient, you cannot do the simulation on them. Monitoring. Before, it was really to improve patient experience and practice efficiency. We have transformed it to become what we call practice continuity. Practice continuity means that all existing patients should be now on DM. All existing patients should have you should have the ability to communicate with them, to see what is happening inside the mouse, to react on time, on problem, give them right advice, to avoid that something which is starting to go bad goes super bad, and then become an emergency, and you don't want emergency, especially at that time, and reassure the patient, keep them engaged and compliant. So what I will do is now I will stop the slideshow, come back just after, and go directly on the website. So you should be seeing now. Sean, can you tell me if you see my screens? So
yes, I see test patient and Stephen Smith.
Okay, super. And you should be seeing on my left. This is my iPhone, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, super. Thank you, Sean. So let's start by. I'm a patient and I will go on SmileMate virtual consultation. So you receive a call from a patient, or you still run some ads of digital marketing, and your patient arrived to your website. So let's be honest, 85% of the people will arrive on the website on their cell phone, not on a computer. So they arrive on your website. I created a fake website. So this is a fake orthodontic website. This is no existing website. They arrive on your fake website, which is We Smile, okay? And they've got some normal website, and they can instantly start your virtual consultation. So you will be able to add this little link on your website, just a link, or we have also an advanced feature, which is a little widget which move on your website. The very simple way is just to put a link that I will show you. Click on the link, and then they arrive to your customized, branded virtual consultation room. So it explains to the patient how it works. There is a little video how to take pictures of their mouse and intro pictures on the mouse. They have to enter some informations. Okay, one born yesterday. I will enter a mail plus Barry. .com. I put a cell phone, works in every country. Get started. The patient puts some of their expectation, get a nice Smile. Then they are requested to take few pictures. Okay? They can upload the pictures directly from a library of pictures that they can take beforehand, or because you have spoken to them on the telephone, or taking picture directly with their selfie and take picture of themselves. I will take picture directly from my library. Okay, first one, done. Second one. You see my personal life, sorry for that. Most of them are picture of my kids. This is the same everywhere. So from the side, from the front, and of course, then it's upload. Sorry, the connection is so slow that the picture takes some time to upload. Never mind, I will go. So they have to upload then an occlusal picture and a lower picture. I will show you when it will be finished to upload. And then basically you receive the picture on your website that you can see here. And basically how it looks, the system will generate automatically a report. So it will take my pictures, show the specific pictures that I've used the AI to determine, to evaluate what is, for example, here, the class 2 situation, overbite, overjet, crossbite, upper crowding, lower crowding, if there is some oral health problems, some teeth problems, etc. You can customize absolutely everything, every text, everything is completely customizable because we want that is your wording going to the patient. And then what is really cool, it creates treatment options that you can select what you want to propose to your patient. If you want to propose, I don't know, braces or liner, let's say you don't want to propose a liner, you can customize this text, of course, you can put your pricing, you can put whatever you want, and then you can share this report to the patient. And then you can share this report with the ability to add a video consultation into the sharing. And this is pretty cool. So I have templated email that I don't want to lose time. You see, it create my email. I can put, of course, the name, Philippe, and then share the report. So plus Barry, share. Of course, I received an email, up, down, up, smile mate. So, hi Philippe, great news. You seem to have a suitable candidate for liner treatment. View my report so they can see the exact report that I've been showing to you, minus your settings, of course. And you can even add some notes at the end if you want to add any comments or anything that you want to add to it. And you can start with them a video conferencing system. So let's start it with the internet connection. Might be terrible, but let's start it. Settings. So inside your system, you will have a video conferencing system. You just need to open it. To open a new Windows. I enter my name here. What are my, sorry, I need to put my credentials. So for that, I just copy my credentials once. So it's here. Okay. So your credentials are inside the system so that you cannot lose them and everything is preset. Up, put my credentials. Remember on computer, sign in. Okay, good. And then the patient puts his name when he wants to connect. Philippe, check in, enable the camera for the patient. You need to download nothing. You don't need to install an app or anything, just checking in. Oh, you see, I see Philippe there. I start the call. And now I will be connected to the patient. It will be, I'm very surprised that my connection work with two connections in the same time. So you see here, up, taking a few seconds. I cut the sound, of course. And I can screen share with the patient. I can send him files if I want to send them a consent form or anything, or if I want to send them specific documentation about the clinic, to book an appointment, to some insurance paper or whatever. I can take pictures from the patient, etc. Very, very simple, and everything is embedded directly into dental monitoring and into SmileMate. Same account, works very seamlessly. It's really, you have your ERP of talking to your patient, managing your patient directly into the system. And I quit, it quits automatically the system. So this is really SmileMate providing you a complete access to your patient remotely, very easily. Now, this has been for new patient consult. So you have a patient, it comes to you through digital marketing or a call, you transfer them to this platform to really have them commit to start. And to make them commit to start, you really need to engage them in a lot of things, communication, etc. Then you've got DM for all your existing patients. So the first things we do is we have created an import tool that you need to connect with your local provider of DM, and they will give you what are the parameters to import all your patients. It's very easy. Just we need an Excel file with the name of your patient, family name, email address, type of treatment, a line or braces or onco, whatever type of treatment. Your ID, the ID of your patient inside your PMS would be better. It's not even mandatory. Then we receive this, and everything is imported into the system. We automatically send to the patient the activation email. They start automatically the app, and they are requested to take the first scan with the email that explaining why they are on DM, because you wanted to watch the back. You don't want to let them down. So you decided to monitor them, at least for the period of the crisis. And because, again, we want to stay completely fair, it's absolutely no commitment. If you want to use DM and SmileMate just for the period of the crisis and stop it, we have no problem. If we can help you to pass this period, just use us, no problem. So now, how it looks like on DM. I'm a patient, I'm taking pictures. So there is occlusal pictures, pictures with aligners. There is, I just took a quick shot here. So same shot that you have seen already. And what I can do, I can directly send some notes to my patient with drawings on the picture like this, for example. Let's say I want to say to the patient that, okay, you've got a problem here, something, anything you want. You have a, okay, here you've got something. You know what I mean about when you need to illustrate what you want to say, an unset of a liner, a missing button, a problem of plaque, or whatever what you want to show. Then you can add a text, test. Sorry. There. Send email. What will happen? I will directly on my app, so DM, receive a notification that, oh, I agree, consent form, and new message from my doctor, as you see, and an email also. The system always sends an email in case of the patient did not see the notification on his app, and he can see directly the message to the patient. The patient can write me back, test, doctor, send, message send. And what I will see inside my notification center, I will test doctor, receive instantly the message. I can reply back to the patient directly, test. And again, a new message from your doctor, and it goes, and there is another test. You see, it's And again, an email, because of course you don't discuss like this with patient. It's communication. You are not always behind your computer or your smartphone, because one of the questions during the Q&A is, can I speak to my patients through the smartphone? Yes, you just need to connect with your login and password of DM. As a doctor, you will see all your patients, and basically you will have the same button. When you log to it, you will be able to speak to the patient. Very easy. So it means you enter to the patient account, you click on the same button, but now it will be speak as a doctor. So really, it helps you to communicate to the patient very easily. Every time the patient sends you a scan, you will be able to see the scan, mark as reviewed, and this is very limited. You don't have to set protocols. You don't need to do anything to set the account. It's really starts instantly. Then if you want to use additional options afterwards, after the crisis, then you will go on photo monitoring classic or 3D monitoring, where we calculate every movement of every teeth, etc., where we activate the 180 type of notification inside the app. Now, because we believe in quality, we believe that getting big, very nice picture is always better. We allow the system to be used during the period of the crisis with no cheek retractor and with no scan box, but we still believe that quality is better. So you can even decide, if you want, I will go on the website, to ask to your patient to buy online, because you cannot ship it. So we have implemented very rapidly a partnership with one of the main, with FedEx, to help us to ship everywhere in US and Canada, and UPS in Europe. And I have to thank them because they are struggling with shipment, but because we are an emergency medical device, they have accept to make very nice attitude to us. So now the patient can go here and just directly go on the shop, buy the box. If you want the patient to not have to pay this, you can also buy voucher to us, and you can provide through the app the voucher, and then the patient can release the voucher and pay nothing. But don't worry, patient cannot use the app without you, because monitoring without you does not work. So it's useless to buy a box if it's not linked to the app. And the app, of course, will adapt if there is box or not box. The system of scanning will be different from one patient to the other, depending if they have the app or not the app. Another thing, to make the system go very quickly, we have decided to add and to transform our complete organization in customer service organization. Means we have stopped completely sales. Every sales guys around the globe are now customer service agent. So it means that even if you call us tonight at 2 a.m. during the night, we are open 24/7. Somebody from Europe will answer back to you, or from Australia will answer back to you, or from Hong Kong, from our team across the globe, to help you to start to answer to your stress at the time you want. Of course, if you want to speak to an American customer support agent, call during the day. Okay. So really, if I summarize, photo monitoring, it's only $3 per patient per month. So let's say if you've got a crisis for 3 months, it will cost you $9. And consultation for a virtual consultation through SmileMate, it's completely free, except the part of the video chat. You don't have to take it. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. If you want to use Zoom, take Zoom, whatever you want. It's just we have integrated into the system that it's more easy, seamless, etc. Training, it's completely free, and we are completely there to support you. We are running webinar every day, multiple times a day, to help all these doctors to pass this very bad period. I will conclude now with giving back the parole to Barry, and to thanks everyone. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to tell us. You can ask questions to the. I really advise you to go on the different portal of Barry, because Barry is really sharing a lot to his audience and helping out to implement things, and not only DM. Huh? He's agnostic. So if he thinks things are good, it will help you on other things. You can contact DM team to implement DM. We will not help you to implement something else, of course. And we are there for you. This is our time to help you. Hoping that after that the crisis, we will convince you that we are a good partner for you. Thank you, Thank you very much. If you have questions, please. I will disconnect.
Thank you, Philippe, so much for that, for the insight into these solutions. I know I speak for everyone on the North American sales team that we're humbled to be in this position where we're just here to help, here to support, virtually train any way we possibly can. So we feel for our customers and practices and want to help through this situation.
We are nothing without you guys. So it's true. So we need to help you to pass this period, and then the other matters, the economic matters, will come after. For the moment, let's protect our patient. That if we protect the patient, it protects your clinic and it protects the supplier. So I think in this health chain, everyone should play his part. Everyone, from supplier, doctor, and patient. So let's work all together. Make it simple. Minimize the stress in this bad period, and just we will be stronger.
Totally agree. I will add in, we are at 1 hour and 9 minutes from the start. We do have a list of about 16 open questions. There have been about a dozen that have been answered offline. Okay. We will make a commitment to answer every single question that's been posted between the group of panelists. I will want to share, I did mention the upcoming webinars.
I will answer.
Again,
I will still answer to some of the questions if some people wants to stay.
Oh, sure.
I still think it's important to answer some of the questions because they are natural questions, and I want our doctors to feel comfortable starting. One of the important questions is, what is the rate of non-compliant taking scans? It's happened. And when a patient are not wearing a liner at all, when they are not doing anything, yes, they might not taking scans. But very important, we have a philosophy: no scan, no pay. Means you are not charged if the patient don't take scans, which is pretty fair on our side. Okay, so our job, even in a normal time, our job is to get them to take scans. Otherwise, we will literally make zero. So our job is to make them take scans, because we know that if they don't take scans, you cannot monitor them. But the system alerts you when they don't take scans, so you are never taken by surprise about this. Who pays for the device for the pictures? I mean, the scan box. The scan box, you've got two choices. Or you buy them yourself. You can ship them to your patient. Or you buy voucher, and you give this voucher to your patient, and then they can buy the scan box on the website. Or you can decide that it's your patient directly, we pay on the website and get the scan box shipped at all. It's your choice. We have no opinion about this. Now, during the period of the crisis, even if you don't want to have the scan box, then you can authorize your patient to use the app without scan box. The app has been completely adapted for this, and the release is now live. But again, it's not our business to sell plastic. We sell software, so we are not there to sell this box. But we still prefer the doctors to use the box because the quality is better, and the user experience for the patient is better. How do you pay and coordinate DM coordinator, for example, in our day? So this is more a question for Barry. Barry, how do you pay and coordinate the DM coordinator, for example, an hour a day, weekly? What is your feedback on this?
So during normal times, my DM coordinator is a clinical assistant who just takes this on as extra work. So let's talk about. I'll just go through this quickly, but let's talk about normal times. So in normal times, what happens is you'll find very quickly is that as you start to go to appointment on demand, you have less patients in the practice and you have more time for your staff to do other things. So I designated a clinical staff member to be the DM coordinator, and that was just part of a normal job. During these times, so that's a whole nother issue, but during these times, right now I have tried to keep my employees whole, so I have paid them up until the end of this week. I'm going to be applying for the Paycheck Protection Plan, and which is a governmental program which will allow me to continue to pay them. So from that standpoint, I sort of understand the question in a bigger perspective, but these are full-time employees. I don't know if anyone really would have, let's say, a DM coordinator that would just be maybe only remote. That's something that I have to think about. But I would think
this. I have an answer on this.
Okay.
We don't have this in US yet. Maybe there isn't, but doctors don't tell us. But we have a certain number of doctors in Europe and in Asia which are using they are shared DMC. They are working in France and they share one DMC for multiple practices, and they also do this for Invisalign, by the way. So they share a pre-clean check. So these people already prepare the clean check based on settings, and then the doctor have already know that these people are looking for the clean check, and then he approve with already a pre-work for them. So there is shared DMC. We have seen this in other countries. In US, maybe it exists because we start to have a very significant number of clients, but I don't know a name. So someone asked, can you please clarify what exactly is being offered for free for the next 2 months with DM? So for free, SmileMate, the first virtual consultation, because we believe that it's very important for you to keep a stream of new patients to restart with something, to restart not with 0 patient in your booking appointment, in your booking calendar. So we wanted you to restart with something. So this is completely free, except the part of the video conferencing system, which is a third party that we have completely integrated into DM, which you basically pay this third party. We make no profit on it. On DM, we have divided our price by 3, that we at least cover a little bit our costs, because honestly, the server costs are huge to manage so much AI and pictures. So now the cost per patient is $3. So $3, we consider that it's not really much, but it allows us to still operate the servers the time of the period. Free for SmileMate, and for DM $3 per patient per month. Do the doctor doc other communication integrate specialty with a cloud-based software? Do DM docs and other communication integrate especially with all cloud-based software? Monica Barakat, I don't really understand your question. So if you can send an email to support, we will try to help you. For existing patient not on DM, can you recap how we onboard them in this light product? So on this light product is very simple. You contact Sean or equivalent, one of our 40 people in US. What they will do, they will ask you an export from your PMS. If you don't know how to export on your PMS, we will ask our tech team to contact you and to help you to export from your PMS. There's 4 to 5 fields that we need per patient. Then we will send you a specific secure link where you can upload this file, where you will have your patient information. Then it's all our work. What we do, we import all these patients to the dashboard. You check them, and then you say, go. And when you say go, all your patients will receive an email of activation and downloading the app. We will also, next to it, help you to of course, we will train you quickly on the platform how to communicate, etc. But you see, it's not very complicated. Then the patient will start to to take scans, and then you will start to have the communication. It's very simple. We help you to export. We do the import for you. We do the start for you. And you don't even need to select a treatment type or select a type of protocol. Everything will be done automatically for you. And we start clinics completely within 24 hours. So if you send us the file within 24 hours, you are completely up and running, and all your patients are that. We advise you to send a letter, a communication to your patient before, telling them how much you want to care about them, how much you want to watch their back. And you say, okay, you will receive an email from Dental Monitoring, which I have subscribed to help you to pass this period. So for the next 3, 4, 6, whatever months, we will be monitoring you to make sure that your treatment is not going to a very bad position.
Can I ask a quick question now, Philippe? So if I, because I'm actually sending Sean a message right now that that's something that I'd like to do to get that 20% of my patients that are not on DM onto DM. Will those patients that are on photo monitoring light, will they show up in my same dashboard, or is that a unique dashboard separate from the DM?
No, it's same dashboard. Same dashboard. You just said that you just see that it's photo monitoring light. You will have a new type of notification, which is your patient has been taking on photo monitoring light a picture. Please review it. If you want to upgrade them to something with more features, which we don't believe it's necessary at that time. We don't believe it's necessary at that time. After, when you will go back in a busy practice, you will want to activate the automation parts. But until you are pretty free, do it. Use the ERP to communicate with them. But the automation, you can do it yourself. When you will be coming back to busy, then you will activate a greater plan where automation AI will do everything for you.
It's perfect because it really, you can, I mean, it's just in one swoop, I can get everybody who isn't on it. And then, like, as you say, we can sort of upgrade them later on once we're back to normal. It's a great thing. Thanks, Philippe. I appreciate that.
So does your software integrate with OrthoTrack? No, we don't integrate with OrthoTrack yet. I can assure you we are speaking to currently with every provider to be integrated. We will be soon integrated with Cloud9. We're speaking with Tops, OrthoTrack, Dolphin. All of them are very looking forward to integrate with them, and we are looking forward to integrate with them because we believe it's important. But it's why, meanwhile, we have done this import tool, and we have also an export tool, which we can give you back all your patient, or we can give you back all the clinical notes that has been taken through the systems and sent back. It's why it's important to give us the ID of your patient when you do the export, because then when you re-import the data in your system, it's very easy. Is there other questions? What is your protocol for aligner wear 1 week or 2 or different? What is your protocol?
Yeah, can I address that one? So it's an interesting question, and it's a debate that goes on at every lecture that I give, like how often should patients change? And it's the wrong question to ask. It's not, should we change on any separate, any designated date? Patients should change their aligners when they're ready. So what does that mean by ready? When the aligner is expressed all the movement. So it should be customizable. So for example, you have a good compliant patient and it comes up to the holidays and they're not wearing their aligners so well. There's no particular reason that they should just kind of jam in the next aligner if they're not ready. So with dental monitoring, patients are changing their aligners on a customized protocol for them based on every week's scan. So if they've had a good week, if their teeth have tracked well, they're going to get a go and they're going to be notified automatically to go on to the next aligner. If the AI, or if we're checking them too, detects teeth that, let's say, haven't completed the movements, which is called an unseat, the patient is going to be prompted to hold in that aligner for a few extra days, use Chewies, and then scan a few days later. Not only does it help to improve tracking and reduce refinements, it also helps to keep patients honest. So patients are switching every week, customized based on their individual biology and their psychology as well. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really the app with your instruction inside the protocol, which basically drives the change of the aligner. You're ready, you receive a go. The doctor thinks you're ready, the system will give a go. If the doctor thinks that you are not ready through the protocol, it will say no-go and plus instruction to get better. It's answering. If you have other questions, please don't hesitate. I see new questions. Is a DM welcome pack start package free for now? We are under discussion about this. It's probably a big yes. I think if you speak to Sean or to your product specialist in US to please do the welcome pack for free, I think they will call me and I will probably, or to call their manager, and you will probably get a yes during the period of the crisis. But if you want to pay to help also, it's not bad too.
Donations are always accepted.
Yeah, donations are very, very costly. It's a very, very costly help that we are providing to the orthodontic community. Yeah, but yes, to answer simply to your question, yes, welcome pack for this next 2 months will be free under you asking for it, please. That's it. Other questions?
Perfect.
How quickly can you integrate it with my office? You call tonight. Well, I call tomorrow because you will have somebody from US. You probably wants to be already in contact with the one who will do your integration. They will explain to you how to do the export, and you can be up running by after tomorrow. Completely training by after tomorrow. There is every sales customer service are now only doing trainings. Do DM doc and other communication integrate with cloud-based? Is one I did not understood. Are the people going to virtual consult without this photo box? Yes, for the moment, as I explained, what we call the scan box is normally mandatory in a normal period. Very highly recommended, let's say. If you still don't want, you don't want. I cannot force you. But during the period of the crisis, we authorize that so we have set our system to not reject the scans when they are without scan box. Why? Because basically you will be reviewing them, and because you will be reviewing them, basically you will appreciate or not the quality. It will be less good than if the doctor or patient take a photo box. Photo box. I will use your new name, scan box. When using patient aligner. So this is for you, Barry. What is your protocol for aligner? No, sorry. When using DM, do you give patient all aligner at initial delivery?
So I will in the future. So and I'm stubborn because the nice folks at DM have been coaching me to do that for a long time and go to appointment on demand. And I suppose we all have our tipping points. So up until now, I haven't. We've been giving patients one box at a time and seeing them every 16 weeks. But as I mentioned, this crisis has gotten me thinking about other unthinkables. Like I said, like if God forbid my office building burns down and I've got all that plastic that melts. So we will in the future be giving patients. In fact, we've had patients, coming curbside to pick up their aligners, but we will absolutely be giving patients all their aligners. Now, I know there are doctors that are concerned that they think the patients are going to abscond with the aligners and not pay them. And I can tell you that there are many doctors all over the world who are giving patients all their aligners, and it doesn't happen. I mean, 99% of patients are honorable. So we will be in the future giving patients all their aligners and then monitoring their treatment with appointments on demand. So again, what does on demand mean? They need IPR, they need an attachment, they're non-tracking, they're non-compliant, they need coaching, those kinds of things.
New question coming. Do you serve clients in Africa? If not, why? Basically, we serve clients in 40-something countries. So in Africa, yes, we just respect regulatory bodies. So if there is countries in Africa or anywhere, by the way, it's not a question of Africa, where we don't have still the registration to operate, then we don't operate, of course, which is Africa have same rules of registration than everywhere else. And second part, it's also depending on custom, because if you need to receive the boxes, and you can't receive it because the custom does not allow easily to receive it, then you have to do the scans without the scan box, and your experience is not as good as if you have the scan box. So it's, yes, you can, but depending on the registration. I know that we operate in Morocco, Tunisia, Nigeria, some African countries, sub-Saharan African countries, South Africa. I don't know all the details, but depending on the regulations. On SmileMate, what are the tiers for SmileMate back to normal? So the tiers are for probably another 6 months, if even after this promotion, it will be half price, because we believe that even if we can go back to work, it does not mean that the financial crisis is not there. So we believe that there will be an impact on globally the global economy for probably 4 to 6 extra months. So it will stay at half price. So it will be $150, and then it goes to full price to $299 unlimited usage. So 3D monitoring, how long from scan to message? This has changed a lot, because 3D monitoring at the beginning was our main product. 3D monitoring now it's 2% of our usage. It takes, we have a mandatory reply after 48 hours, because it takes far more in terms of computing time, but most of the time it's given during the day. And for photo monitoring light, it's instant, of a few minutes. That's it. Does SmileMate send automated email, text follow-up after consultation? So, no. The consultation, you've got templates emails that you can, basically when the patient does this consultation, you can put, you have templated email and you have to select it. We are always under supervision of doctors, and we believe it's our role to always be under supervision of doctors. We don't want to supplement the doctor. So if SmileMate send an email, you click on the button. Even if everything is pre-filled, preset, everything is pre-cooked by your protocols, you click the button to prove that what you are sending is what you want to be sent to the patient. We are in a medical world. We believe that doctors should be the master of the system. Now, our role was to make it very seamless, that this is nearly instant. I think we have answered to all the questions. I'm very surprised we still have a very large crowd connected. Thank you so much for your audience. Barry, again, thank you so much. You're a wonderful guy. Could you please talk about pending status when patients send poor photo? It seems like a bottleneck. Okay. Yes. If patients send bad photo, what will happen? The system will reject the pictures and ask them with some extra tutorial to take new photo. Okay. So really now, and this even on the new app that we have released today, it's even better. Really, the system talk to the patient, ask them to review the picture with showing examples. It's pretty nicely done and very advanced. If the pictures are really bad, with the scan box, it really not anymore happen. But without scan box, if it happen, we ask again. We ask again, but you are always alerted. You have rejected pictures, so you know that the patient has started to try to take pictures. And then if it really does not succeed, call them. But I don't think, Barry, does it happen to you that you have to find your staff have to call patient because really the pictures are so bad?
For photo monitoring?
Yes.
It's very unusual. The patient gets an automated message. Occasionally, they'll close the app out before the upload is complete. We won't see all the pictures. Mm-hmm. It's very unusual with the scan box. I mean, they'd have to put the phone in upside down or something like that. But the patient, in those situations, the patients will get an automated message, and it will send them with a link to the tutorial to watch the video all over again. And almost always they will then resend a new one. If they don't, the next day I'll send a personalized message. If it's a kid and they blow it off, then we'll send them a personalized message. So most of the time that automated process kind of gets them back on track.
But we receive close to 500,000 pictures per day. So we have some Hall of Fame, we call it. So because sometimes kids are funny.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I have to say, for that question, it's maybe we're talking about, I don't know, less than 5% of the cases. And the other question too that came up was, how many kids or patients are not doing this? And again, it's about 5% of the patients, 5 to 7%. And those are the same 5%, 7% that are non-compliant. I mean, there's a big correlation between patients not scanning and not being compliant with their aligners. And not that, we don't want to, I think getting over 90% success is great, but those patients that aren't scanning on a weekly basis where we see these gaps, we identify them, we reach out to the parents with a phone call if it's a teen patient, which it generally is, although you'd be surprised with how the grown-ups behave too. And we'll get the patient in, and we will schedule that patient for a conference. We sit in the conference center and we have a chat. And I will just give doctors one little piece of advice. Before you start accusing, they say if you point a finger at somebody, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Before you start, sit down with a patient and say, hey, you're being a terrible patient. Use this phrase. Say to patients, is everything okay? You'd be surprised what happens. Patients come in and they're not scanning, and they'll say something like, oh, I've been going through chemotherapy, or my husband, has COVID-19 or whatever it is. So I think it's good to identify those patients, but be empathetic. Ask them if everything's okay. Kids say, we have migraines and all that kind of thing. So, but I don't think it's worthwhile to make a policy on the few. So we see greater than 90, probably 93, 95% success with scanning and compliance. So you identify the stragglers and deal with them appropriately.
Barry, I just pulled out, because we've got a production dashboard, as we say. This is basically the graph of since September 30 of 2018 of our rejection rate, photo rejection. Yeah. Rate of patients. So green, it has been not rejected. When in 2018 we were 96%. So rejection 1 time was 3%, rejection 2 time was 0.7%, and average 95% of good pictures. Now we are, because we improve the app, improve. We are close to 98, 90 depends the week. But you see 98%, and rejection 1 time 1.2%, and rejection 2 time barely 0.016%. So I think now the time have changed, and really the improvement of the app has shown that now we're pretty confident that there is not much rejections from the system. It works pretty well.
Perfect. It's funny. So I perceive it as being 5 to 7%, but it's probably 1%, but it's just 5% of the aggravation.
2%, and it depends also how much you use Scanbox or not. For people who use Scanbox, literally it's very low. I know that you still have some patients not take Scanbox because you started before the Scanbox exists. So it's fine. You might have patients without Scanbox where have a higher rejection rate than patient with Scanbox. But it's a pretty nice score already to have between 95 to 98% of the first scan accepted. It's pretty nice.
You bet.
And usually the highest prevalence of rejected scans comes in the first at-home attempt.
Yes.
That we'll try.
Yeah, and it comes always as the first 2 scans when it's happened. It's the patient just flip the scan, the camera over, and we see the wall, or not really, literally. It's things like this. So there is something about the improved camera. Yes. The camera, since the first time we have launched the product 6 years ago. We are at the generation 7, I think, about how we scan and the quality. First, the quality of the phone is completely different than 7 years ago. The process is completely reviewed. Everything has changed. again, we invented the field. So we had to learn everything. Like a bit Invisalign had to learn everything when they created aligners, and now they're a pretty brilliant company. I don't say that we are brilliant, but I think we have learned lots of our experience and improve the product that to make it very, very robust. So now we can say truly that DM is a robust product. And especially through the number of now doctors and patients that we receive every day. We have to be robust. Other questions? Maybe another one. Sean, can you read the question? Because I don't know why it's split on my screen in two, the last question.
I'm having trouble getting it to pop up myself, actually.
I can
read it to you.
I have it here if you'd like. Are you thinking of to evaluate a strategy to deliver STL model of simplified scan box on in your website to 3D print remotely? Maybe it can be a good strategy in times of pandemic.
So this conversation is ongoing. We are having multiple conversations with basically all suppliers, because for the people who know DM, they know that when you are in 3D monitoring, we can export 3D model when we've got specific information, and one of the specific information we need, it's an initial scan, because to be very clear, when we export an STL, we export an STL which is an updated version of the first scan that the patient took, that you took on your patient. We don't create the anatomy of the teeth, we reposition the teeth in space and we modify the teeth as they are currently in the space. So we need the initial scan. And basically, lots of providers are very advanced in this kind of communication with us and are close to accept. Obviously, we want Align to accept this. So do your lobby, call Align and ask to Align accept the STL file from DM. They have already made it test 2 or 3 years ago. They know it works. They have said it works. Just question of having a good collaboration. I think especially during this period, everybody should be working together. And we really welcome them to work with us.
I did see a question that pertaining to the brand of plastic monitoring of aligner patients, if our system also allows us to monitor in-house made aligners.
You can, we've got currently on the platform, I think 28 type of aligners monitored. We've got close to 40 type of braces monitored, and I don't speak about all what are the accessories, pre-treatment, recall patient. I give you I give an example. We have a very, very large American group which is working with us. And one of the key benefits they have found on using DM is for recall patient. When you have a patient coming to your practice and they are too young to start, you don't want to lose them, because, you know, if you say, no, you're too young, there are big chance that they are going to another practice. And you want to basically protect your early work. So what you do a very light monitoring, where you do this monitoring only once every 3 months, 6 months. And you say to the patient, you know what? We'll not put the appliance yet, but what we will do, we will check very regularly if you can start. And if you can start, we will ping you and tell you can start. This patient will not go out. It's already your patient. So basically, if you've got something around 20 to 30% of your incoming patient which are not ready, which is a normal stat, you can save this 20 to 30 patient as staying your patient, and this, I think, it's a very, very interesting vision of seeing DM. Other questions?
I'm from Vietnam. DM is not available here yet, so how can I use this service?
Send an email to support for Vietnam. I know that we operate in Malaysia and in Thailand, so I guess Vietnam should be possible. Maybe because the Vietnamese was not implemented into the app, because we are now in 8 or 9 language, and probably Vietnamese was not yet implemented. So send a message to support, and we'll do our best to see if we can operate. SmileMate, probably yes. Directly, because you can customize yourself everything into it. on DM, you can customize most of it, but the app itself, it will appear in English for your patients. You've got lots of people from DM, so don't hesitate to continue to ask questions. They will take your questions. This webinar is recorded, so will be published on the website of DM inside events. You can have all the documents, all precision through asking to support, and you can even write me a direct mail if you want. It's Philippe, PHILIPPE @dental-monitoring.com. If I take some time to answer, or if I transfer your mail to somebody more pertinent than me, don't feel vexed. It's just I'm doing my best. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for addressing so many questions. We still had 108, 109 attendees at the time. So that's very positive. Very, very interested in hearing the responses there. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.